Best known for her sublime, haunting, and difficult to categorize wall-mounted reliefs, American sculptor and printmaker Leigh Bontekoe's war memories informed her most iconic work. Born in 1931 in Rhode Island, Bontekoe's mother assembled submarine transmitters while her father sold gliders for the military. Summers were spent with her grandmother in Nova Scotia, exploring nature, studying sea life, and reading science fiction. It was a little island, she recalls, and it was just complete freedom. The water was all around you, but there were the German U-boats out there. These early experiences deeply impacted her worldview. It's not hard, she told Smithsonian Magazine in 2004, to figure out all the war imagery in my early work. Of the stealth bomber, she said, it's a beautiful thing, but what it does is horror. And that's the gripping tension Bontekoe's work presents. Horror inseparable from beauty. This theme would prove an enduring motif throughout her career. While at the Art Students League, Bontekoe received a Fulbright to study in Rome in 1957, where, while adjusting oxygen levels on her welding torch, soot poured out. Quote, "Getting the black opened everything up. I just started drawing with it." Upon her return to New York, Bontekoe's sculpture radically changed. Previously hidden metal armatures beneath the clay were made visible. The void appeared. To quote Bontekoe, "To me, it was like the whole universe." She attached scavenged conveyor belts, scraps of canvas, and abandoned machinery parts with copper wire, leaving the traces of making visible, an aesthetic that would become a signature of her work. By 1960, she was the first female artist invited into the influential Leo Castelli Gallery in New York, alongside the likes of Frank Stella, Donald Judd, and Jasper Johns. The show generated an outpouring of critical praise. The Museum of Modern Art and the Whitney acquired her work, and she received a prestigious commission for the lobby of Lincoln Center. Critics imposed all sorts of labels: feminist, sexual, menacing. But Bontekoe left the majority of her work untitled, so the viewer could come to his own conclusion. Quote, "There's been so much written about my work that has nothing to do with me. When I tried to express my thoughts, eyelids drooped. As a result, I stopped trying and spoke only through my work." She later revealed the voids had more to do with outer space, her fascination with the 57 launch of Sputnik. In 1962, marine biologist Rachel Carson published Silent Spring, a powerful environmental treatise that led to the banning of DDT. Inspired by the book, Bontekoe returned to her love of nature, shifting the focus of her work to more natural, organic forms. The result? Vacuum-formed flora and fauna, a great departure from her reliefs, and savaged by the critics. Fame began to feel like a trap. Castelli asked her to alter one of her sculptures for a buyer so it would take up less space. She refused, saying, "Maybe he's just selling things." I got to a point with the reliefs where I sort of felt, that's good for now, but the gallery wanted me to keep going, more, do more, and when those flowers appeared, that was a no-no. But I needed time to experiment, to change, all freedom in every sense. And so, by 1970, Bontekoe, along with her husband and young daughter, decamped to a farm in rural Pennsylvania, where she continued to create and began teaching at Brooklyn College. When asked why she'd left the art world, Bontekoe replied, "You can't be more involved in the arts than teaching. You're with other brains. They were the art world. I was the art world. I didn't dodge it." For decades, Bontekoe created, drew, assembled. Curators reached out, but it wasn't until the early 2000s, after recovering from a near-fatal illness, that Bontekoe responded, realizing she didn't want to burden her family with dealing with her art. Well-received retrospectives and exhibitions focused on never-before-seen work, including drawings and mobiles, followed, most notably in 2004 at the Museum of Contemporary Art Chicago, the Hammer Museum, and the Museum of Modern Art. Bontekoe died in 2022 in Florida at the age of 91, but not before being elected into the National Academy of Design and awarded the Gold Medal from the American Academy of Arts and Letters. Fearless, explicit, powerful, and above all, free in every sense. Bontekoe is an artist with no antecedents, whose groundbreaking contribution to modern art continues to influence artists today. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing and sharing. Until next time.